Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about the redundancy that's required for living off grid, especially in a place like this in Colorado. We're 13 miles to the plowed road, and it's important about redundancy. Uh, in my opinion, you need three. So for sources of transportation, we have our Gladiator with tracks on it as our transportation number one. Transportation number two is we have a side-by-side with tracks on it that I'm quite impressed with the ability for it to get in and out in the winter. And then we also have a snowmobile in order for getting out. So, if you have one and it breaks down, you could be in a lot of trouble out here. There's just no way in the cold of winter you're going to be able to walk out the 13 miles. So if you have two, because one will break down. We've had plenty of issues with a single one at a time breaking down. So having one is not sufficient. Because you will get one to break down. If you have two of them, you can probably make do, but you're still pushing that boundary. So you have one breakdown. Now you only got one left. That's it. And if that one breaks down again, you're in that ballpark. But three, we've got 6 months is probably the outside edge of where we would be snowmobile or tracked vehicle in and out. And by having three, it's not a long. That would mean one would break down every 2 months, and none of them would get repaired. So if one breaks down, I can always go order parts, head in, get the replacement parts for it. So it keeps us well situated with having three. Same thing goes for heat. We have pellet stove, which is our predominant heat source. During the day, when the solar panels have produced and the batteries are fully charged, we use that to generate electric heat. And what it does is it just offsets it. So pellet stove costs me money. Once the batteries are charged, that electricity is free for me. There's no cost, there's no negative to it at all. So we crank in the electric heat to reduce the pellet stove consumption. If we run into problems, we also have propane heat. So we've got three sources of power and heat. We've got, for power, I've got three sources. I've got solar panels, I've got a wind turbine, and I have two generators. And the generators are multi-fuel. I've got gasoline and propane. We have a 1,000-gallon propane tank. For heat, we've got propane, electric, and the pellet stove. For the transportation, we've got the snowmobile, we've got the side-by-side with tracks, and we've got the Jeep Gladiator with tracks. Everything is about at least two additional options. And that's really, to me, that's a requirement. Even our freezers. We have three freezers. We've got a regular kitchen fridge with a freezer. We have two chest freezers because we try to store as much meat as we can for the year. So that's really kind of what's going on here. Just wanted to kind of talk about the redundancy, what's required for the off-grid. Because, if you've never done it before, you got no idea how much stuff to get. How much extra do I go in? Clothing, kind of the same thing, although maybe not to the same level. You've got, you need good quality stuff. Do not cheap out on it. You don't have to go crazy level of quality, but you need at least two good jackets. If you're out and one gets wet, you need to have something else that you can wear if you need to run back out again for something, to fix something. Lots of gloves and good quality gloves. Let me tell you, our gloves split open on the first year, and we're not great. Now, we did have another pair, but our main gloves that we were planning on using all winter did not last. So quality will make it last. You're going to use equipment much harder than most people do. I also recommend you do it yourself. If it breaks, you need to be an electrician. You need to be a plumber. You need to know how everything is set up. Water. We actually filter rainwater for some drinking water. It costs us 20 cents a gallon to have that water hauled up here. So we do have a trailer. We can haul our own. When we need large quantities of water, we do just have them bring up upwards of 4,000 gallons. I have 3 cisterns buried up on the hill that are 1,700 gallons each. And I've got 3 above ground cisterns that are each 1,500 gallons. And then I've got a trailer with a cistern that I can haul our own water up. It's just incredibly important to be very familiar. Middle of winter, I'm going to have a very hard time, and it's going to be very expensive to try to get a plumber or electrician or someone up here to work on systems. So having done it yourself, you know how it's set up, you know what's going to break, you know how to troubleshoot it and get it resolved. So the only other thing that we've got is we've got 2 sources of internet up here. We've got Starlink, which is our primary, which we've been extremely happy with. And our secondary, we get a poor LTE signal that gives us about 8 megs down and about half a meg up, but it's a backup just in case we run into trouble. So that's a brief talk about our redundancy, how we're set up here, and just what our situation is and how we're getting by. So thank you for joining, and I look forward to the next one. Take care.